So we are in the middle of a great NBA Finals, but the attention is a little bit divided because of the Kevin Durant trade rumors. And I guess at this point, it's not even rumors. We all know Kevin Durant is going to be traded in the next week or so, but everyone is focusing on Kevin Durant and where he's going to go, and rightfully so. But what about Phoenix? And really, what about Devin Booker? Because we are about to see Devin Booker in a role he's never really been in since the beginning of his career, where it wasn't really fair for him to be in that role. But the last 5 or 6 years, he's had Kevin Durant and Chris Paul, two of what I would consider top 5 players of the 2010s. And even besides what they do on the court, those were big names that command a bunch of respect. Those are voices in the locker room. Now Devin Booker is going to be the leader of a team again. And maybe you could argue actually for the first time in his career, he's going to be the real leader of a team. And I'm not saying I doubt he can do it. I'm saying I am intrigued by what that's going to look like from the leadership standpoint, but also on the court, because I can't really gauge how good I believe Devin Booker is. I know Phoenix seems like they're going to be so far away by trading Kevin Durant. One, they were just terrible with KD. But when you look around the league, when you look at 7 different champions in 7 straight years, it makes you question how far away you actually are. You look at what Tyrese Halliburton is doing back-to-back years. You look at what Anthony Edwards is doing back-to-back years. You look at what Luka did in Dallas. Now, all those guys had real legitimate second options, right? From Julius Randle to Kyrie to Pascal Siakam. I get that. But if you're Phoenix and you believe Devin Booker is one of those guys, how far away are you actually? Now, from a championship, probably actually pretty far, but you guys get what I'm saying. There's a world where you trade Kevin Durant to Minnesota and you end up being a better team than Minnesota next year. I think that's a real possibility if Devin Booker is that guy, which again, I'm not sure of, but I'm extremely excited to see what it looks like. I don't know if you guys remember how high people were on Devin Booker before KD got there, right? It seemed like Devin Booker was about to take another step. They go get KD. And I'm wondering if a similar thing is going to happen in Minnesota, where you have this elite scorer and what you choose to put next to him is another elite scorer that doesn't really excel at other areas of the game anymore. And it's not a one-to-one comparison because Chris Paul is a special player. But if I'm Minnesota and I just seen Phoenix before KD and Phoenix with KD, I want to build a team similar to the one before KD. I want to put a great point guard next to Anthony Edwards. I want to put defensive wings next to Anthony Edwards. I don't know, that's just me though. But if you were a Phoenix and you walk out of this with Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith, and a 10th pick, now I'm not sure how that happens contractually. That's why we keep seeing Jalen Green instead of Jabari, because Jalen Green makes a lot more money to make the deal work. But if I'm Phoenix, I need Jabari in this deal. And I don't really need to explain why Jalen Green would not make the most sense with Devin Booker, first of all, but also when you still have Bradley Beal. And this would be a great time to have the Bradley Beal conversation. Now, I'm not a Bradley Beal defender. I've never really cared about Bradley Beal. Like, he's not someone that I've had a vested interest in his career, but the conversation around his name lately is in large part due to his deal, the no trade clause, and him being injured a lot. But when you look at what Bradley Beal was giving you as a third option, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Now, is it worth the money? No. But I think he's going to be a little bit more useful, or a lot more useful, when you don't have a Kevin Durant. You don't really need Bradley Beal's shot creation when you have KD and you have Devin Booker. And not only that, once they got Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen decided to have a career year. So if they knew what they were getting from Grayson Allen, I don't think they would have pursued a Bradley Beal. But the last 2 years, he's giving you 17 points, 4 assists, 4 boards, 50% from the field, 40% from 3. Those are very good third option numbers. Bradley Beal is still pretty good at basketball, and I think we're going to see that even more when Kevin Durant is gone. I believe he's going to give you real value this year, so I wouldn't be in a rush to just trade him for nothing. I understood that when it was Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but now you don't have KD. You need someone else that can go get a bucket, and Bradley Beal can still do that, right? But in this hypothetical Rockets deal, this is a fake trade. I love doing fake trades. But since the easiest way to get Kevin Durant to Houston is including a Jalen Green, Phoenix now has to reroute Jalen Green somewhere else. So in this deal, I have Phoenix getting Jabari, the 10th pick, Herb Jones, Kelly Olynyk, Jose Alvarado. The Pelicans get Jalen Green and Jock Landale, and the Rockets get Kevin Durant. Now, I love Herb Jones. I am a Herb Jones stan. But if you're the Pelicans, what exactly are you holding on to Herb Jones for? Now, maybe you just don't like Jalen Green, but if you believe he has some type of all-star upside, why not do this deal? Kelly Olynyk just to throw in to make the money work, but also a decent player. Jose Alvarado, maybe Phoenix has to throw in an extra second pick to get Jose. So if this deal were to happen, Phoenix would still have Devin Booker, still have Bradley Beal, still have Ryan Dunn. They get Herb Jones, they get Jabari Smith, they still got Royce O'Neal, they still got Grayson Allen. They could potentially move or keep them. Is that a great team? No. But it's a team that Devin Booker could lead to be better than they seem on paper. Again, if Devin Booker is who we believe he is. Now, you'd probably still need a starting level center, but you got Kelly Olynyk, you got Nick Richards, you got Jabari who could play the 5 at times, you got Iguodala who knows what that kid's gonna be. You got Herb Jones and Ryan Dunn defensively, and you got Royce O'Neal coming off the bench. I would really like this team for Devin Booker to lead it. On paper, that team seems and it probably is right? I'm not saying that team can be the 1 seed, but could that team be a 5 seed if Devin Booker has a all-NBA season? Sure, we keep getting more evidence that having a deep team full of good players is good enough. And I'm not predicting it, but how shocked could we really be if Bradley Beal was just like very good next year? I'm not putting my money on it, but could we really be that shocked if Bradley Beal turns around and averages 23 points per game, 50, 40, nearly 90 next year? He's older, but he's not that old. He's going to be 32 next year. There's going to be no Kevin Durant. It shouldn't really shock us at all if he's putting up 22, 23 points a game efficiently, considering he was just doing that a couple years ago. But even these other teams, right, if they get Rudy Gobert or get Julius Randle along with Rob Dillingham and Dante DiVincenzo, I like that a little bit less. But still, Julius Randle, Devin Booker should be able to do something, not win it all, but they should be able to compete. They should be heard from. Even if it's a Miami deal and Miami gives you Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love in a 1st round pick, something like that. Not amazing, but those are very, very helpful players, and a flyer on Jovic that I feel like Devin Booker, regardless of where Kevin Durant goes, Devin Booker is going to have a team that he can lead, a team that shouldn't be bad if he's this guy that we all think he can be. 28 years old, this is your prime, this is gonna be your team that you are leading with a bunch of young guys looking at you to lead them. Let's see what that version of Devin Booker looks like. I am extremely excited to see what it looks like. I'm not making any predictions either way about which way it's gonna go. I just genuinely feel like I'm not sure how good Devin Booker is at this point in his career. Like, I know he's a good player, I know he's a great player, but is he one of these guys that you can build a core championship team around as the guy, right? So even if you want to say he was the better player with Chris Paul, I disagree with that. But even if you believe that, you have to acknowledge that it's Chris Paul. Look at what Chris Paul does throughout his career. He's a leader, his teams always win, and that's just a role we haven't seen Devin Booker in so far. So 28 years old, this is the perfect time to see it. And if Devin Booker can't make this team competitive, I mean, I'm saying that assuming what the deal is going to be. Maybe they get a terrible deal in return, but assuming they get a decent return for Kevin Durant, and I look at the roster and it's a bunch of good role players that no one's really, jumping off the page, but a decent team around him. Let's say they make a version of that Rockets deal, probably not the one I suggested, but a version of that deal, and you are still one of the worst teams in the NBA. Now, I know the NBA is deep, I know there's a bunch of good teams, but if Devin Booker can't lead you in that way, if he doesn't look like he can lead you and be a bona fide #1 option, then the question becomes, why exactly are we holding on to Devin Booker, besides him being a homegrown talent? Because once again, depending on what they get for Kevin Durant, this is not going to be a bad team. And whatever they get, really hope they get Jabari, but whatever they get, this team is going to be exciting to watch. And what does the next chapter for Devin Booker look like? I don't know. I'm not trying to offend any Devin Booker fans. I'm not saying it's going to be one way or the other. I'm saying I can't wait to watch it and see how it plays out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below in regards to Devin Booker and how good Devin Booker is, in regards to what the KD trade should be. All that in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. On the road to 10,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.